ਸਤਿਨਾਮ ਕਰਤਾ ਪੁਰਖ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਸੈਭੰ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦਿ ਜਪੁ ਆਦਿ ਸਚ ਜੁਗਾਦਿ ਸਚ ਹੈ ਭੀ ਸਚ ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਭੀ ਸਚ ਇਕ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਸਤਿਨਾਮ ਕਰਤਾ ਪੁਰਖ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਸੈਭੰ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦਿ ਜਪੁ ਆਦਿ ਸਚ ਜੁਗਾਦਿ ਸਚ ਹੈ ਭੀ ਸਚ ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਭੀ ਸਚ ਇਕ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਸਤਿਨਾਮ ਕਰਤਾ ਪੁਰਖ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਸੈਭੰ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦਿ ਜਪੁ ਆਦਿ ਸਚ ਜੁਗਾਦਿ ਸਚ ਹੈ ਭੀ ਸਚ ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਭੀ ਸਚ ਇਕ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਸਤਿਨਾਮ ਕਰਤਾ ਪੁਰਖ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਸੈਭੰ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦਿ ਜਪੁ ਆਦਿ ਸਚ ਜੁਗਾਦਿ ਸਚ ਹੈ ਭੀ ਸਚ ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਭੀ ਸਚ ਇਕ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਸਤਿਨਾਮ ਕਰਤਾ ਪੁਰਖ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਸੈਭੰ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦਿ ਜਪੁ ਆਦਿ ਸਚ ਜੁਗਾਦਿ ਸਚ ਹੈ ਭੀ ਸਚ ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਭੀ ਸਚ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਕਿਛ ਕਰਮ ਨ ਜਾਨਾ ਨਾਹਿਨ ਨਿਰਮਲ ਕਰਨੀ ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਕੈ ਅੰਚਲ ਲਾਵਹੋ ਵਿਖਮ ਨਦੀ ਜਾਇ ਤਰਣੀ ਗਿਆਨ ਧਿਆਨ ਕਿਛ ਕਰਮ ਨ ਜਾਣਾ ਸਾਰ ਨ ਜਾਣਾ ਤੇਰੀ ਸਭ ਤੇ ਵੱਡਾ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਨਾਨਕ ਜਿਨ ਕਲ ਰਾਖੀ ਮੇਰੀ ਤੇਰੇ ਜੋਰ ਮੈਂ ਗੂੰਗਾ ਕਹਤਾ ਹੂੰ ਤੇਰਾ ਸਦਕਾ ਤੇਰੀ ਸ਼ਰਨ
ਸਤਨਾਮ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਕਰਮ ਖੰਡ ਕੀ ਬਾਣੀ ਜੋਰ ਤਿਥੈ ਹੋਰ ਨਾ ਕੋਈ ਹੋਰ ਤਿਥੈ ਜੋਤ ਮਹਾਬਲ ਸੂਰ ਤਿਨ ਮਹਿ ਰਾਮ ਰਹਿਆ ਭਰਪੂਰ ਤਿਥੈ ਸੀਤੋ ਸੀਤਾ ਮਹਿਮਾ ਮਾਹੇ ਤਾਕੇ ਰੂਪ ਨ ਕਥਨੇ ਜਾਹੇ ਨਾ ਉਹੇ ਮਰਹੇ ਨਾ ਠਾਗੇ ਜਾਹੇ ਜਿਨ ਕੈ ਰਾਮ ਵਸੈ ਮਨ ਮਾਹੇ ਤਿਥੈ ਭਗਤ ਵਸਹਿ ਕੇ ਲੋ ਕਰਹਿ ਆਨੰਦ ਸਚਾ ਮਨ ਸੋਏ ਸੱਚ ਖੰਡ ਵਸੈ ਨਿਰੰਕਾਰ ਕਰ ਕਰ ਵੇਖੈ ਨਦਰ ਨਿਹਾਲ ਤਿਥੈ ਖੰਡ ਮੰਡਲ ਵਰ ਭੰਡ ਜੇ ਕੋ ਕਥੈ ਤਾ ਅੰਤ ਨਾ ਅੰਤ ਤਿਥੈ ਲੋ ਲੋ ਆਕਾਰ ਜਿਵ ਜਿਵ ਹੁਕਮ ਤਿਵੈ ਤਿਵਕਾਰ ਵੇਖੈ ਵਿਗਸੈ ਕਰ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਨਾਨਕ ਕਥਨਾ ਕਰੜਾ ਸਾਰ ਕਰਮ ਖੰਡ ਕੀ ਬਾਣੀ ਜੋਰ।
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਧੰਨ ਧੰਨ ਸਤਿਗੁਰੂ ਪਤਿਤ ਪਾਵਨ ਭਗਤ ਵਛਲ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਦੇ ਖਜ਼ਾਨੇ ਜੋਤ ਰੂਪ ਧੰਨ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਦੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ। We continue to be blessed gathered together today to continue hearing the teachings of Sri Japji Sahib, the Bani which is going to give us Brahm Gyan, the true knowledge of Akal Purkh Vaheguru, the Lord God, giver, organizer and deliverer of us back into themselves. Sri Japji Sahib is reaching its end. We have reached the 37th pauri this time round. We have one more pauri, the 38th, and then the slog, which is numbered 1 itself as a pauri. In the previous weeks, we have listened, we are focusing on the stages of spirituality. The first stage, Shubh Ichha, in the body of Ik Du Jibao Lakh Hohe. Shubh Ichha, to have a good desire, a good thought. That good thought is to repeat the name of the Lord. To repeat the name of the Lord over and over, so we can start developing spirituality. We can start developing spiritually and moving closer to Vaheguru. The second stage, Shubh Vicharna, having good contemplation, constantly thinking about why we are here on this earth, what is the meaning of life, and then understanding that the meaning of life is to break free from the 8.4 million lives, the birth and death cycle of lives, so we can break free by repeating the name of the Lord, by doing nishkam actions, actions or karams which are not asking for anything, positive actions, and so we can become closer and ultimately become one with Vaheguru. The third stage, Tanu Mansa. It's where the first 3 of the Panj Jor, Kam, Krodh and Lobh, lust, greed and lust, anger and greed start decreasing. It is here where the khandas start, and this is Dharmakhand. Dharmakhand is the stage or the khand or the place of the Satsangi, the Skursik who comes to the Saad sangat, does seva in the Saad sangat, does simran in the Saad sangat, comes to the Sharan, the Charan, the sanctuary of Akal Purkh Vaheguru's form on this earth, Tan Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji. And going through that stage, they reach the 4th stage, which we've heard, called Satwa Patha, to find and understand the truth, to gain knowledge within Gyan Khand. Within Gyan Khand, the avastha is described, or the state of mind is described of a sevak, a selfless servant of the Guru. And in Gyan Khand, that state of knowledge, of understanding, it's like when we wake up out of a dream, we realize that the dream was false, and that within that dream there was falseness, and although we believe it to be true while we're there, we realize it is false because we wake out of that dream and we understand we're in this world. Now that is exactly what this world is like, and the person or the Sikh who reaches that state of knowledge, of understanding in Jnana Khand, they realize that actually this world is false. So rather than waiting until they pass away, until they die from this earth, and then realizing, they understand that this world is a dream, it's an illusion, it's a temporary phase which is not really true, because something which is true lasts forever. And this world doesn't last forever, we don't last forever, so logically it is false. The 5th stage, which we heard about last time round, Asang Sakat in Sarmakhand. Sarma meaning lajja, respect, shamefulness, if you will, and it's there where the final 2 chores, moh, ahankar, attachment and ego, start to decrease and start to be under the control. Saramkhand is a very high avastha. From there, we have come this week to the 6th stage, Padartha Pavani. Padartha Pavani is the understanding that without We don't need anything in this world. And God, there is nothing like God. It's like when we're in a deep sleep. When we're in a deep sleep, we forget about everything. We forget about all our possessions, our families, our friends. And those who reach this stage, which we're about to hear about, Karmakand, they realize that, and they forget about everything they realize about Vaheguru. They forget about everything because they've reached that state like a deep sleep from the world, deep sleep from society. They understand its faults, they forget about everything. Their thoughts are only with Vaheguru. This Khand, Karma Khand, is the fourth Khand. So although it's the sixth stage, the Shemi Bhumika is the fourth Khand. And within this body we're going to hear about this fourth Khand and also the fifth Khand, Sach Khand, which is the state of oneness with Vaheguru. Turiya Avastha or Turiya Pad, which it is called. It's like being one with Vaheguru in every state of mind, whether you're asleep, in a deep sleep, whether you're dreaming, whether you're awake. In those three states of mind, you are one with Vaheguru. That's the Avastha of Sachkhand. So, although we have 7 stages, Satpumaka, within those, the last 5 of those are split with these Khands. Dharmakhand, Gyanakhand, Sarmakhand, which we've heard about last week, and now we're about to hear about Karmakhand and Sachkhand, the 6th and 7th stages, Shemi and Satami Pumaka, but also the 4th and 5th Khands as they are being described in Sri Japji Sahib. We've heard that Dharmakhand is the state of mind of a Satsangi, somebody in the Saad sangat. Gyanakhand is this avastha or the state of mind of a sevak, a selfless servant. And last time round we heard that Sarmakhand is the state of mind, or it's the avastha of a Sikh. Somebody who is putting that effort in as a Sikh, learning, constantly developing, working hard to become closer and closer to Vaheguru. The avastha of Karmakhand is that of a Sanmukh. Sanmukh meaning in front of Vaheguru. So you've gone so close, you are facing Vaheguru, they are facing you. That's how close we are. And now, in the first part of this body, we're going to hear about Karmakhand, and then in the second part of this body, we're going to hear about Sachkhand, actually becoming one with Vaheguru in this stage of Turiya Avastha. So we're going to hear in this body, and we're going to start to hear about Karmakhand.
Satnam Sri Vaheguru Sahib Ji, Karmakhand ki Bani Jor.
So those who reach the state of Karmakhand. Now, what is the word Karam? What does it mean? We've talked about in Dharmakhand, that in Dharmakhand is where you do actions. And actions are translated to being Karams. So why is this body, why is this called Karmakhand? If Dharmakhand was about actions, why are we calling this Karmakhand? Well, Karam here doesn't mean actions. It means bakshish, it means blessings. In the Siddh way, there are 3 stages. The 3 stages are your actions, your knowledge, gaining knowledge, so doing, then gaining knowledge, and then worshipping. Now, in this stage, they believe in 3 stages only. And the Siddhs asked Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji that we only believe in 3 stages. And Guru Sahib Ji have develop that further into 5 stages or 5 khands from those 3, because they say this avastha, this khand of Karmakhand, is even if you worship Vaheguru, even if you praise Vaheguru, there is a stage where you become blessed by Vaheguru. So it's separate. Many people of this world praise the Lord, many people of this world worship Vaheguru, but only a few of those become blessed and move further. And those are the ones who have developed into Karmakhand. So Karam here means blessings, means bakshish. And those who have come to the state of Karmakhand, what is that described like? Karmakhand ki Bani Jor. We heard last time that in Sarmakhand, the Bani, the speech, becomes sweet. But in this stage of Karmakhand, the Bani, the speech, becomes jor, becomes all powerful. So whatever a person in this spiritual stage says becomes true. There's a Gursikh of the name of Bhai Godriya. They were very famous that whatever they said became true. And there are many sakhiyan about Bhai Godriya, about whatever they said, and that exactly happened. Now, one simple one was they used to grind flour to make it ready to be able to make prashadda. Now, at one point where they were working, where they were living, the Gursikh at that house shouted at one of the servants, and Bhai Godriya ji spoke up, said, "Why are you at pain with this servant? Why are you at pain with them? Why are you shouting at them?" And he said, the Sikh said back to Bhai Godriya ji, you just carry on grinding. It's none of your business. And Bhai Godriya ji said that if you are at pain, you will feel that pain. If you are at pain with the servant and you're taking out your pain and suffering, just shouting at the servant, you will feel that same pain. And he actually started to feel that pain, and then he had to mang maafi to this Gursikh. Now sometimes a Gursikh doesn't mean to say what they say, because whatever they're saying, they're doing it, what they say is described as Sutte Siddhe, it just comes out. But whatever they say, a Gursikh who's in Karmakhan, that becomes true, that will always become true. And there's nobody else in this avastha, there's nobody else who has that power to be able to speak that speech that becomes true. Even we heard last time round, when Sri Guru Amar Das Sahib Ji, the third Guru of the Sikhs, in the time of Sri Guru Angad Dev Sahib Ji, when that Pakhandi Baba from Khadur Sahib said to those farmers that if you want it to rain, then you need to get rid of Sri Guru Angad Dev Sahib Ji out of this place. And Sri Guru Angad Dev Sahib Ji left. But Sri Guru Amar Das Sahib Ji, before they became the Guru, when they found this out, they actually said from their mouth that you have done the worst thing to the farmers, that the embodiment of Vaheguru, the embodiment of Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji, you have got them kicked out of this village. It will never rain here. They are the King of Kings. They are Vaheguru on this earth. It is only they who would make it rain. And actually, if you want it to rain, you ask your Baba, this person who called himself spiritual, you ask him to make it rain, because it didn't rain afterwards. And then they went back to that person, and it still didn't rain. And the only way it rained is when Sri Guru Amar Das Sahib Ji said, if you drag that person from your khed to each other's khed, to each other's land, it will rain. Whichever spot you drag him around, that is the spot it will rain. And that's exactly what happened. They dragged him to each of their parts of their farms, and in that patch it rained. So that was the jor of the Bani of Sri Guru Amar Das Sahib Ji. Now obviously Sri Guru Amar Das Sahib Ji is the Guru of the Sikhs. Whatever they say is going to become true. But at that point, they were the Sikh of the Guru, Tan Sri Guru Angad Dev Sahib Ji. And they're showing us that those Gursikhs who reach that stage of spirituality, their Bani will become all powerful. Whatever they say will happen. Whatever they say will become true. So a Gursikh who reaches this stage and surpasses this stage, whatever they say to you, it will always become true. And whatever they say to you, they are not making something up. We shouldn't be scared, because if they've reached that stage, they only speak the speech of the Lord. So they are speaking within the hukam, the will, the command, the order of Vaheguru. And so whatever they say is only commanded by Vaheguru, and it was going to happen anyway. But it just shows that their speech becomes all powerful. And now, Tithe Hor na koi hor. Nobody else has that power who reaches this stage. But then at the same time, Tithe hor na koi hor. We take this a deeper translation. Those who reach Karamakhand, their avastha, their spirituality becomes so high, they don't need anybody else. They don't need koi hor. They don't need to go to anywhere else to try and develop spiritually. They have gained this blessing, in this stage of Karamakhand, the stage of blessings, from Vaheguru themselves, from the true Guru, Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji. So they don't need to go anybody else. They don't need anybody else. They don't need any other spiritual power, the Riddhiya Siddhiya, the occult powers. They cannot reach this stage, because the Gursikh has surpassed all those stages, because they are now Sanmukh. They are facing the Lord. They are very, very close. They are one step away from becoming one with the Lord.
ਤਿਥੈ ਜੋਧ ਮਹਾਬਲ ਸੂਰ
Tithai Jod Mahabal Sur. In this spiritual stage are the true warriors, the Jodhe, the Rathis, Mahabal, the Maharathis, and Surme, the Atrathis. And we've heard this over and over in Sri Japji Sahib, descriptions of warriors, worldly warriors, physical warriors, warriors who can fight one-on-one and claim victory. They are just Jodhe, warriors. Then we have a Rathi who can fight with hundreds of warriors all by themselves and claim victory. Then a Maharathi who can fight with tens of thousands of warriors all by themselves and claim victory. And then we have Atrathis who can fight with infinite amount of warriors and claim victory. They are the physical warriors on this earth, and only those Atrathis can reach this stage of Karamkhand. Those warriors like the Sahibjade, the Vadde Sahibjade, who fought by themselves against unlimited Mughals. And there are many warriors that have done that. They have reached and even surpassed this stage of Karamkhand. But then also there are those warriors who are spiritual warriors. Spiritual warriors, they stop themselves from going into good sangat, into wrong sangat. That is just a warrior. Then we have the next stage of a warrior, a Rathi, who doesn't do any pap with their body, with their hands. They don't do anything wrong. And then we have a Maharathi. They don't do anything wrong with their indriya, their senses. And then we have a Atrathi. They don't do anything wrong with their mind because they've defeated their mind. Manajita, Jagjit, they have won over the world because they have won over their mind. And those spiritual warriors, those Atrathis, and those physical warriors, Atrathis, are in this stage of Karamkhand because they have been blessed. They have had that blessing from Akal Purkh Vaheguru, and thus they have reached this stage. And many of those Gursikhs have surpassed this stage. So within them, Ram Rahaya Paharpur. Paharpur means imbued, fully filled. Ram Rahaya. Ram meaning Ramya Hoya Ram. Ram is the name of Vaheguru, which describes Vaheguru being omnipresent everywhere. So Vaheguru is contained everywhere within themselves. They are one with Vaheguru. We've heard the Panktiya again in the past. Gurmukh Rom Rom Harte Ave. That the Gurmukh, every one of their paws repeats the name of Vaheguru. So those Gursikhs who have reached this stage, their whole body is filled with Vaheguru. Now Vaheguru exists everywhere, but those Gursikhs experience that Vaheguru exists within them. Now the Siddhs were obviously believers in the Hindu faith. Now when they asked Guru Sahibji, give us an example, how can that be? Guru Sahib used an example from their own faith, from their own religion. Now Ramchandra was a demigod. His consort was Sita. Now in Ramchandra's army was somebody called Hanuman. And there's a tale from their history which Sita questions Hanuman, and Hanuman tears his skin apart, and within his heart is written Ram. So Guru Sahibji, Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahibji shows the Siddhs, gives them an example from their own history, from their own faith. But for Sikhi, whether that is true or not, we take the account because Guru Sahibji is within all of us. And those who reach Karamkhand, who gain these blessings, get to experience that, get to experience Vaheguru existing within themselves. And because they repeat the name of the Lord, we've talked about the different stages when you repeat the name of the Lord, starting off by repeating loud, then going in the kan, then as it develops, it goes into Parabani, and then from Parabani the whole body starts repeating the name of the Lord. There are Sakhis of many great Gursikhs. There was a time, only 40-50 years ago, the time of Sant Gyani Sundar Singh Ji Khalsa. Now, when they came to the end of their time, the Gursikhs who used to live around them would call a doctor because they were quite ill. They were a young age, but they were quite ill. And the doctor put the stethoscope on their body. And wherever they put the stethoscope, the name of Vaheguru was being repeated, and the doctor said, there's nothing wrong with you, because everywhere I put the stethoscope, I hear the name of Vaheguru. Now that is an account of Sant Gyani Sundar Singh Ji Khalsa, but any Gursikh who reaches this stage, any Gursikh who develops spiritually, any Gursikh who continually repeats the name of the Lord, within their body the Lord's name constantly repeats, and people around can feel that aura, can feel that name of the Lord being repeated constantly and constantly. And then the Siddhs continually asked again that, when Guru Sahib Ji gave that example of Ramchandra and Hanuman, they said, well, with Ramchandra, their consort Sita is always close by, she was always by his side. And the Siddhs asked Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji, because they're still trying to convert Guru Sahib Ji, so they're trying to be clever, asking questions. It's like in this day and age, in this modern world of society, we generally ask many questions of Gursikhi. Some of them are questions that don't need to be asked, because we should have that shraddha, that respect of Guru Sahib Ji. And we should have some faith in Guru Sahib Ji and take what they're telling us. Take what they're telling us, believe in it, and continue to develop spiritually. But in this day and age, we always have many questions, and some of those are sometimes very stupid questions that make no sense. And they're questions which can be described as Gnostic questions, questions where you have no faith in Guru Sahib Ji. The Siddhs asked the question, well, what about the consort Sita? You've told us this example from our history, but then where's Sita in all of this? And Guru Sahib Ji gives the answer, Tithe Sito Sita Mehma Mahe. Now, Sito can be translated to be to sion. When you're sewing, in Punjabi we say Sita gaya. Yeah? And Guru Sahib Ji gives the example that Sita in this example is this. Mehma means the admiration, the singing, the praises of the Lord. What you have to do, Sita in this case, if you want to take that example, is you as a Gursikh, or the Gursikhs who have reached the stage of Karmakand, who are blessed, what they have done, they have sown inside themselves the worship, the praises of the Lord. So in other words, they are constantly praising the Lord because they're attached to that praise. They've sown it, they've joined with that praise of constantly praising the Lord. Whatever they do is always praising the Lord, always worshipping the Lord. So even though the Siddhs are being clever trying to ask these questions, Guru Sahib Ji is giving the answers because they are the all-powerful Vaheguru themselves on this world. But we should never ask those kinds of questions to Guru Sahib Ji. Whatever they tell us, we should take it and we should follow it, and we will always become one with Vaheguru, will be blessed, and they will always protect us. The beauty of those Gursikhs cannot be described. We cannot describe the level, the avastha of those Gursikhs who have reached the stage of Karmakand. Na ohe marhe. They don't die. Why don't they die? Obviously, physically, everybody has to pass. Everybody has to leave this world. But they do not die if they are forced. Na thage jahe. They are not, nobody can do them over. Nobody could thuggy, no one can mar thuggy against them. So try to use slyness to win them over. Nobody can do that. Because those Gursikhs are blessed. Now, I'm giving another example. This time of Sri Guru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji, the 5th Guru of the Sikhs. There was a time when Chandu wanted to marry his daughter with the Sahibjada of Sri Guru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji. The Sahibjada being who became the 6th Guru of the Sikhs, Sri Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji. But the Gursikh Sangat had heard that Chandu had done Nindya of the Gurukar, so they did Benti to Sri Guru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji to refuse that rishta, refuse the marriage. And Sri Guru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji refused the marriage of Sri Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji with Chandu's daughter. Now Chandu had a lot of jealousy after that, and he made a lot of complaints to the Mughal emperor to try and attack Sri Guru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji and try to get rid of Sri Guru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji. At one point, before everything develops and Sri Guru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji gives their Shahidi, when they want to give their Shahidi, when it's the hukam of Vaheguru, Chandu tried to hire a Mughal warrior. His name was Sulhi Khan. And he hired Sulhi Khan, and Sulhi came and said, I will come and kill Sri Guru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji. Now obviously Sri Guru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji is the Guru of the Sikhs, they are God themselves, but they're given an example again that Gursikh who has reached this avastha, and anybody who reaches this avastha and passes, and actually anybody on this world does not die or is not born without the hukam, the will of the Lord. Sulhi came on his horse and he says, I'm going to go to Amritsar and I'm going to take the life of Guru Sahib Ji. But who are they to take the life of the embodiment of Akal Purkh Vaheguru themselves? But when Sulhi came, he reached a place where there was a kiln. It was the kiln of Priti Chand. And when he went into the kiln, he went to look in the kiln, and actually his horse got scared and slipped, and he fell into the kiln and he was burnt alive. So Sulhi Khan tried to come to take the life of Guru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji, but in fact he lost his own life trying to come and do that. Now there's a Gurbani Shabad actually in relation to that Sakhi, because the Gursikhs at that time came to Sri Guru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji because some of them got scared and they thought, Guru Sahib Ji, this is a warrior, he's going to come and attack, he's going to kill you and he's going to kill all of us. And Guru Sahib Ji said, don't worry, what is in the will of the Lord, that is what will happen. And there is a Gurbani Shabad, Bilawal Mahalla Panjaba, Sulhi te Narayan Rakh, Sulhi ka haath kahi na pahunche, Sulhi hoye muana pak. So Guru Sahib Ji talked about that if you read the Shabad, that you will be protected from Sulhi, the Gursikhs. And actually what will happen is that Sulhi will not be able to reach here and he himself will leave, and that is exactly what happened. So those who reach this stage of Karmakhand, those who are Sanmukh, who are now one step away from Vaheguru, who are facing Vaheguru, they cannot be killed, they cannot be bought, because they have reached that stage where they are blessed with Vaheguru. They've got the full bakshish of Akal Purkh Vaheguru. Because within their mind they have Ram, Ramya Hoya Ram, Vaheguru, Vaheguru who is ever present, exists everywhere. Vaheguru exists in their mind. They have full faith with Vaheguru. They never question Vaheguru. They never question Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji. They take whatever they have been taught historically with the Sakhis of Guru Sahib Ji, that Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji went to Makkah and the Qajis pulled Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji's legs, and actually Mecca changed sides. They don't question those Sakhiyan. Many times in this day and age we question that how can that happen? How can Mecca change position? How can Bhagat Nam Dev Ji, when they are not allowed to go and worship, the mandir actually turns around and faces them? Many people in this day and age in society question all these because they say Guru Sahib Ji didn't do miracles. These are not miracles, this is the will of the Lord. This is the will of the Lord to show that Guru Sahib Ji and Vaheguru always stands on the side of the Gursikh, of the spiritual person. They do not never stand on the side of the Atarmi, person who has no faith. And we question Vaheguru in this day and age, but those who reach this stage of Karmakhand, they are blessed. They never question Vaheguru. Vaheguru exists within their mind, within their body, and so they can never be defeated. They can never get taken for a ride, because Vaheguru Ji is always protecting them. Vasahe ke lo. Vasahe means exist, lo means lok. Not just in this world, but in many worlds. There are many Bhagats. There are many Bhagats, many saints, many Gursikhs who have reached this avastha. Not just from this world, in many worlds, they have reached this place of Karamakhand and they have been blessed by Vaheguru. Within their mind, they have great anand. They have great bliss. Now there are two types of anand, two types of bliss. There's one type of bliss which is called Bhagata Anand. And if you just I'll give you an example. If you imagine a gutter, when it rains, that gutter fills up with water. It fills up with water and that water continues flowing in that gutter. And sometimes it overflows. But when the rain stops, that water that goes through the drain empties out. And so that water is no longer in that gutter. That is what you call Bhagata Anand. So when you do Bhakti, you feel that bliss. while you're doing it, while you're repeating the name, while you're doing seva, while you're listening to Katha Kirtan, while you're sat in the Saad sangat, you feel that bliss. But when you go from there, that bliss stops. But those who reach this stage, reach the stage of Brahmanand. That's Anand which lasts forever. That's Anand which doesn't stop. And those Gursikhs who have been blessed, who have reached this stage of Karam Khand, they are blessed, and their Anand, their bliss doesn't stop because it dwells within their mind.
Sachkhand vasai nirankar.
So we've Guru Sahib Ji explains to the Siddhs that Shemi Bhumika, the sixth stage, the fourth Khand, where the Gursikhs Avastha is this Avastha, the spiritual stage is of a Sanamukh. And now in this stage of Sachkhand vasai nirankar, the realm of truth, the realm of Sach. Vasai nirankar. Nirankar, akar means a form, nirankar means formless. The formless Vaheguru dwells in this place of Sachkhand. This is the avastha of now a Gurmukh. So through the 5 khands, we've gone from Satsangi, somebody who does a lot of sangat. We've gone to the Sevak, who does the seva. We've gone to the Sikh, who makes the effort and learns and continues to develop. To Sanmukh, because as they develop, they reach one stage away, they face Vaheguru, Vaheguru faces them. To the Gurmukh, who is one with Vaheguru, who follows the teachings of Vaheguru. Gurmukh, what comes out of the mouth, the mukh of the Guru, they follow those teachings completely. This is the stage of a Gursikh who reaches this 7th, Satmi Bhumika, the 5th Khand, Sach Khand Vasai Nirankar. In this stage, those Gursikhs who become Gurmukhs, who reach this stage, they reach the stage of Vaheguru. Now many faiths believe in the different places of heaven. They believe in heavens and they believe in hells. And the sky is described as being layered, the skies. In Christianity, they believe the 5th sky. If you describe the skies as being layered, they believe that God exists on a throne on the 5th sky. In the Islamic faith, they believe God exists and Muhammad resides there as well on the 7th sky. But in Gursikhi, we believe that God exists everywhere. So we can describe this realm as being everywhere, and God exists everywhere because God, Vaheguru, is omnipresent. They do have a form. When they have a form, so in this form of where they say formless Nirankar, God is everywhere, formless, but they do have a form on this earth to help us develop spiritually, to understand and experience that stage of Sachkhand, which is formless, a completely different realm. And that form on this earth first came in the form of Tan Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji. And they came in 10 forms through to Tan Sri Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji, who then passed on that Jod, that Jagdi Jod, that ever-living light in the form of Tan Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, the form we know. That's the Sargun form, the form of all qualities, all guns. And through that form, through the form of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, by repeating the Shabad, by repeating the Gurbani, by following the teachings and acting on those teachings, we can reach the form of Nirankar who resides in Sachkhand. That doesn't mean we go to a place like heaven. We actually experience Vaheguru, not just in our bodies. We've heard in Karma Khand that God, we realize and experience Vaheguru within our bodies. But in this place of Sachkhand, not only in our bodies, we realize, we experience Vaheguru in every bit of creation. In the dry land, in the waters, in the skies, on the earth, everywhere Vaheguru exists and we experience Vaheguru, and those are the Gurmukhs. In Turiyavastha, which is called, they're one with Vaheguru, whether they're in deep sleep, because when we're in deep sleep, we know nothing. We forget about everything. They experience Vaheguru in their dreams. When we're in our dreams, we believe them to be realities, what we want. We have dreams of things we are excited for. And that Gursikh realizes Vaheguru in their awake, in their state of mind when they're awake like now. But we follow society in this state of mind. But a Gurmukh is one with Vaheguru in every state of mind, because they experience Vaheguru everywhere. And those Gursikhs, those Gurmukhs who have reached this state, Kar kar vekhe nadar nihal. Nadar nihal, they gain those blessings. They are nihal, basically they have ultimate bliss. Why? Kar kar vekhe. What have they done? They have listened. the first stage. When we split these stages up into 3 simple ways, they listen to the teachings. And when they listen to the teachings, they believe in the teachings. They don't question the teachings. They believe in every sentence, in every word, in every letter of Gurbani. They believe in the power of Vaheguru. They believe in the Sakhiyan that Tan Sri Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji did not chop the heads of sheep, of bakre, of lambs. They took the heads of the Panj Pyare and they put those heads back on and they gave them Amrit. They made them immortal, just like they make us immortal if we partake in that ceremony of Khande Di Pohal. They believe in the Sakhiyan of Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji. When their legs move to the other side, Mecca completely changes position. They don't question that. They believe in the Sakhiyan and the Seva of Sri Guru Amar Das Sahib Ji, who walked for many years backwards, facing Sri Guru Angad Dev Sahib Ji, going to collect water for their Ishnan. They believe in the Sakhiyan of Sri Guru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji, when Sri Guru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji sat on a Tati Tavi, but they did not scream once. All they said, whatever Vaheguru does, it is sweet. They believe in the Sakhiyan of Sri Guru Har Krishna Sahib Ji, who cured the smallpox of Delhi just by giving their darshan to all the sangat of Delhi. They believe in the Sakhi of Sri Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji, when the person who wanted to take their head off actually feels a thud before they reach the head of Sri Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji. And this is the Kautak of Vaheguru Sahib Ji, Sri Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji. They take the head off themselves and they put it in the hand of Spai Rangreta Ji, Guru Ka Beta, who has head automatically, their cease automatically comes in their hand so they can take that cease to Sri Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji. They believe in these Sakhiyan because they have listened, they believe, and when they believe, they follow the command, they follow the hukam, they follow the teachings, and they act out those teachings that they hear in Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, they hear from Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji. And because they do that, they gain those blessings and they have ultimate bliss. They reach and they experience this stage of Sachkhand. All worlds, all deshes, all parts of this world and every world are within Sachkhand. How are they within Sachkhand? Because God exists everywhere. If God exists everywhere, then everything is within Vaheguru, everything is in Sachkhand. But the difficulty is, can we experience that Sachkhand? Because what we are experiencing is this world, is society, is the Panj Jor. That's what we experience, that's what we feel. We don't feel Vaheguru's oneness. We don't feel Vaheguru with us because we haven't developed spiritually. We haven't retuned our frequencies to that frequency of Vaheguru. We are still in the frequency of society, being led by society, being led by the Panj Jor, being led by we want to look good for society. We want to do stuff with our case. We want to cut our case because we want to look good for society. We don't want to look good for Vaheguru. We don't want to be one with Vaheguru. We want to keep going backward and forward in these 8.4 million lives. We want to go backward and forward through these Junes. We've been blessed with this human life. We've been blessed with Gursikhi coming to the sanctuary of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji. But what do we want to do? We still want to follow society. We don't want to repeat the name of the Lord. We don't want to repeat Sri Japji Sahib. Bhai Godadiya Ji, I've just talked about earlier in this party. Bhai Godadiya Ji used to do 21 Japji Sahibs a day. We've heard many Sakhiyan of all the Gursikhs that have been described in the Sakhiyan Sri Japji Sahib. They all did 21 Japji Sahibs a day. And being blessed Gursikhs in this day and age, being inspired by those Gursikhs, even surpassed that limit. And they start doing more Japji Sahibs because they want to be one with Vaheguru. They cannot wait to be one with Vaheguru. They want to have that oneness now in an instant. So they constantly repeat the name of Vaheguru. And obviously one day they will be blessed going through these stages, reaching this stage of Sachkhand, where they will become one with Vaheguru because they have listened, they have believed, and they have acted out on the command of Vaheguru. So all the worlds, everything exists in Sachkhand because Vaheguru is Sachkhand. And Vaheguru exists everywhere. We just have to realize and experience that. Somebody like me trying to describe those places or trying to describe how Sachkhand looks like, what is there, how to experience it. My end will happen, all of our ends will happen, but we'll never get to the end of the greatness, of the bliss that is experienced in Sachkhand when you're one with the Vaheguru. Guru Sahib Ji is explaining to the Siddhs that lo means light, like a prakash. The prakash of Sachkhand, the light of Sachkhand is not like the light we see here. It's not the light like the light of the moon or the light of the sun. It's millions and millions and millions of times more prakash, more light in Sachkhand. But only those who experience that will be able to explain what that means. Akar, the form of Vaheguru within Sachkhand, or whatever is in Sachkhand. When we hopefully are blessed, one day we will experience that. We'll understand that brightness of Sachkhand.
Jiv jiv hukam tivai tivkar.
And those Gursikhs who have reached this spiritual stage, some of those Gursikhs are born one with Vaheguru. They come to this world one with Vaheguru. I use that phrase born, but actually they are not born. They are sent by Vaheguru to do a duty because they're already one with Vaheguru. Like Baba Deep Singh Sahib Ji. They came to this world to fight with their head held in their hand. And again, we question that in this day and age because we want to follow society. But they came just to do that, to show us that they could not resist the beadbi of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji. They would stand up for that beadbi. And even if it meant they lost their head, they would continue fighting until that beadbi is stopped. Bhai Mani Singh Sahib Ji came to this world already one with Vaheguru, already blessed, because they came to be band katte, to cut limb from limb, not arms, not legs, limb, piece by piece, within each limb. They came to this world one with Vaheguru. Gursikhs like Bhai Taru Singh Ji, who their khopri came off, because they didn't want to give up their case, they didn't want to give their Sikhi. They were already one with Vaheguru. Gursikhs like father and son, Bhai Subeg Singh, Bhai Shahbaz Singh, who were put on the chadkhriyans, those wheels where they were spiked to their shahidi. They came, they were one with Vaheguru. So those who have reached this stage of Sachkhand, who have reached this spiritual stage, Gursikhs, Mahapurushs in this day and age, who have reached this stage of Sachkhand, they have come with a hukam. Jiv jiv hukam tivai tivkar. Whatever they do in this world, those Gursikhs in Sachkhand, who are on this Satmi Pumaka, who are Gurmukhs, whatever they do is in the command of Vaheguru. They do nothing out of what their ego tells them, out of what society tells them. Everything they do is in the command of Vaheguru. Jan Parapakari, they have come to this world to do Parapakar, to do good for the world, for humanity, and it's in the hukam of the Lord of what they have come to do.
Vekha vigsha kar vichar.
Vekha vigsha kar vichar. We can translate this pankti that Vaheguru Ji watches over his creation. But also, we translate it Vekha vigsha. Vigsha means kirna, to be sort of happy. Kar vichar, to contemplate. So those Gursikhs who are in Sachkhand experience Vaheguru and they are happy with the bliss, that oneness that they are receiving.
Nanak Kathana Karada Saad.
But stand Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji coming to the end of this body, explaining this avastha of a Gurmukh in the Satmi Pumaka, this fifth khand of Sachkhand. Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji is telling the Siddhs and telling us Kathana. To explain this Karada Sar, it's very difficult to explain this teaching, to describe Sachkhand, because the only one who can describe it is one who is there, but one who is there will not even describe, because it would be out of our imagination to understand. And Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji is showing their nimarta by saying it's very hard to describe Vaheguru. They're Vaheguru themselves, they're one with Vaheguru, they're the embodiment of Vaheguru. They can describe everything, but they are telling the Siddhs and telling us, showing that nimarta, that it's very difficult to explain Sachkhand. This is the 37th body of Sri Japji Sahib. We have gone through, now we reached the seventh stage, the 7 stages of spirituality becoming one with Vaheguru. The stage of a Gurmukh. Next week is the final body, or the 38th body of Sri Japji Sahib before the Slok. In that body, Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji describes the stage of a Gurmukh Pyara, or the avastha of Sadguru Sahib Ji themselves. Ultimate Gursikhi. And we will hear that next week. If I've made any mistakes or if I've offended anybody going through this week's body, I beg for forgiveness. You, the Saad Sangat, can bless me with Brahma Gyan so I can continue, or I can teach, I can share the teachings of Sri Japji Sahib completely and correctly. I pray to Tan Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji that he blesses us all with Gursikhi so we can achieve this stage of Sachkhand while we're living, so we can experience that bliss all together, and we can experience it while we're living, burning away all our karma, so we are one with Vaheguru as well. Deho sajan asisiriyan jo hova sahib syo mel.
ਵੇਖੈ ਵਿਗਸੈ ਕਰ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਨਾਨਕ ਕਥਨਾ ਕਰੜਾ ਸਾਰ।
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।